Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. Let's meet your hosts, Chris Angel and Michael Maher.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Referrals Podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Michael J. Maher. Michael, hello, sir.
Hello. What's up, Mr. Guardian Angel?
Hello, Referral.
Guardian Angel. Yeah, I just like to blow your speaker right off the bat, right?
Do you call your tribe like Referral Nation? Can we like Referral Nation? What's up, Referral Nation?
We totally got to, we got to mobilize our army of ambassadors, right? It's
there you go.
Ambassadors.
I love it.
Like renegades, mount up.
Well, we can take that all sorts of directions. It's really fun. We're talking about the Great Retrace today, so I'm excited to dive into what the Great Retrace is. I spoke to our guest Neal earlier, and it's like a half a page in the entire book, but Michael could talk about it for like an hour and a half. So I'm excited to dive into that in case people who read the book missed it. But before I do that, let me introduce our guest. His name's Neal Smith. And Neal is a longtime Sacramento, California resident. He grew up in Carmichael and attended Jesuit high school. He obtained a real estate finance degree from Long Beach State. He has a degree. He has developed a successful mortgage practice where he prides himself on providing a unique lending experience for his clients by putting together a highly motivated and dedicated team. His business is 100% by referral due to the strong relationships he's developed and maintained with his clients and business partners. Neal's a confident leader, consistently rated as a favorite speaker for his high energy, passionate delivery, and value-driven approach to sales and service. With over 26 years of mortgage experience, wow, Neal is a firm believer in finding happiness in all he does while achieving his financial goals with integrity. Neal's endorsed by North America's most referred real estate agent, Michael J. Maher, and is a founding Master Series and faculty member of Michael's Certified Referral Trainer Academy. He is passionate about helping professionals looking to improve their business or personal lives. By implementing strategies from 7 levels of communication, Neal found a rewarding way to do business. Consistently a top-ranked speaker at conferences and events, Neal shares his experiences, knowledge, and the 7L system to help business owners have a business that not only feeds their family, this is the part I love, but also feeds their soul. A method to achieve not only success, but also significance. Even though Neal has been given many wonderful titles, the one that means the most to him are husband and father. Neal lives in Sacramento with his wife, Angie, and sons Jackson and Max, along with his cat, Frisco, and new puppy, Shimmer.
Love it.
Neal, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes. Woo! Referral Nation. All right. Well, Michael, how did you meet Neal? How do you know Neal?
So he was introduced to me. I actually spoke for a group out of California, Pinnacle Capital, and they're a mortgage company. And when I spoke, I was introduced by Roger Savvy and Nevin Hollett. And he was someone in the audience, and he was pointed out to me as someone to watch. And from there, we did our Gen event. He was actually in Sacramento, and we were actually doing a Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area event. And he was like, what about us Sacramento peeps, right? Mm-hmm. And I love that he stepped up, and we were like, hey, listen, we're probably not going to Sacramento to promote this event. And he goes, well, what if I could get, 100 or so people in a room and we could do it that way? And so we were like, well, You know what, if you can make it worth our time, make it worth our while, then we'll make it happen. Well, we went up. It was a fantastic. We ended up selling several tables for our Gen Bay Area. And Neal Smith got on the radar in a big way by showing that he's influential. He can get people in the room. When he says, hey, you should go to this event, people go to the event. And so that's and then from that, the relationship has grown to he attended CRT last January, and he stood out in a room full of standouts. It's the best of the best in the generosity generation and the 7L system at CRT. They want to be certified referral trainers. They go through a 3-day boot camp, which is, boot camp, which is geared to kick your butt. And he came through with flying colors in January. He did Master Series from January through July. And then we had our August CRT, and he came in and was a leader and was really not only helping the new CRTs, but a leader amongst the CRTs. And we're talking people that do, 60, 80, 100, 120 million in business plus. Wow. And he was one of the best speakers. And then he was featured in our Referral Mastery Summit, which is a one-day event, and standing ovation, phenomenal series of events on Great Retrace and time management. And has just really, he's our most improved player, if you will, if you want a sports term, right? And it wasn't, sometimes your most improved player goes to the guy who's not likely to get most outstanding player or MVP or things like that. But in this case, the most outstanding player, MVP, was also the most improved player, which is saying something, right? Yeah. So that's Neal Smith in a nutshell right there. That's how I know him. And that's why we invited him to this show, is because I know he's going to knock it out with a lot of value and something that we have not covered before on the Referrals Podcast.
Yeah, right. Well, with that amazing additional introduction, Neal, welcome. And we're talking about the Great Retrace. I'd love to hear just from your perspective, like, what is it? What is the Great Retrace? How did you find it? Because you said it lives on like half a page. So kind of give us some.
It's one sentence. It's like one sentence in 7L. It really is. It's one sentence. Rick tells Don about it in chapter 10 or 11. So it's amazing how one or two sentences, a strategy, can grow to be 3 days of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I didn't catch it after, first several times I read the book. It wasn't until I heard Michael speak on it. And then it really opened my eyes about the book, in that there's so many nuggets here in this book that just expounded upon, and you get some time with Michael and the people teaching this stuff. It's just, it'll blow you away. And the basic idea with this retrace, it's almost like a family tree. Mm-hmm. And it's this idea of who referred you. Normally what happens when we get referred by somebody, we might, call the person that referred them, send them a power note, say, thank you so much, I really appreciate it. And it kind of goes from there. And I've been doing business a long time. I'm diligent about thanking my referrals. I really appreciate them a lot. Well, I felt like an idiot when I really got the gist of this, that I didn't ever think to do this. And it's this idea that, well, who referred that person, right? And then who referred that person, and why not call those people and thank them? Wow. And it's so mind-blowing when you start implementing it, because what happens is you get back to top of mind with these people that love you in the first place. Right. Mm-hmm. And you can do a lot of tongue in cheek with it. You can say, hey, thank you so much for referring John. Well, you didn't really refer John. You really referred Susan, who referred John. And there's a lot of spins you could do on it and have some fun. I called a good buddy of mine this year, and I said, Brian, I'm doing 2 loans this year right now because of you. And he goes, how on earth are you doing that? I said, well, this one's because of Ian, Mike, Lisa, and it came to you. And this one's because of Mike, Matt, and he just was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Wow. Yeah. And this guy is a top connector, and I got back on his radar big time when he heard that.
Yeah. So level up is one of the powers of this, is that you're calling people who introduce and connect and refer people, right? So you're calling people who have a history of introducing, connecting, and referring. So if they have a history of it, they may have a future of it. So there's a power of it, because you're calling the people who introduced, connected, or referred you to the next person. Well, and then let's take it even to a higher level, is that it works because it's based on appreciation, right? And so, Chris, I'll ask you a quick question just to show you the power of appreciation, right? The generosity generation, the 7L system, it helps businesses build their business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. Well, this whole session really fits under the appreciation mindset, right? And so, Chris, have you ever done something for another human being that you really went above and beyond? You went out of your way, or you really put yourself out there to do it for them? Have you ever done that?
Sure.
Of course you have, right? Have you ever done that where they didn't even acknowledge it or notice it or even say thank you for you doing it? Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah.
So are you likely to do something again for that person? Are you less or more likely?
I mean, I'm a giving guy, so maybe, but it's not like I'm excited. Like, I can't wait.
So you're not motivated to give, right? You're less motivated to give to that person, right?
Yep.
Right. So you're less likely to do something for that person, right? So let's flip it over, right? Have you ever done something that you just honestly thought it was who you are or what you do, or it was very natural for you, or you thought it was just part of your job, and yet the person you did it for was so like genuinely and sincerely and profusely appreciative of what you did? Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you less or more likely to do something for that person?
Oh, more. Yeah. Big time.
More likely. So you're more likely to do something for the appreciative person than you are for the unappreciative. And the first lesson is quit doing things for unappreciative people. That's the first lesson for everybody. Yeah. And the second lesson is when you do find the appreciative people, keep doing things for them. And the third lesson is be the appreciative person and people will do more things for you, right? It's influence. Appreciation is a principle, and it is a principle of influence, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tool of influence. So and not only that, but it's just something really good to do, and it's something that feels good for you and it feels good for them. So all of this is laced in appreciation, right? It's appreciation for the connection, appreciation for the introduction, appreciation for the referral. It's so funny is I knew Neal was coming on. So today I Facebook messaged Bill Hart, right? So Bill Hart isn't the sole responsible person for Neal coming into my life, right? But Bill is an ancillary person because Bill introduced kind of the book and 7L to Roger and Neville at the Sales Mastery, right? So it was one of those where Bill had kind of but in our conversation, it's so funny is that I haven't talked to Bill in like 6 months, but it was just like instantly we picked up immediately where we left off. And he was saying, we just did Sales Mastery. It was awesome. And I talked about your book like 50 times and it was great and things like that. And it gave me another reason to express my appreciation to Bill is like, I was really contacting you because we're having Neal Smith on our podcast today. And you had a role in, and it turned into this great conversation about championing each other. But it's just a really great excuse to reach out to people, right? I mean, Neal, is that what you're finding too?
Absolutely. And I got grilled a little bit when I told people an excuse because they're like, you shouldn't have an excuse to call. But really, to be candid with you, database is a big part of my business and keeping in touch with, but I'm not the greatest at it.
Yeah.
So this gives me a reason to call them without commission breath. And thank them, right? And it really resonates a lot with the people, and they really do get like, oh, you don't have to thank me, no big deal. I'm like, no, thank you so much.
Yeah. Have you had any stories where you thank someone, and I know you're not doing it for that, right? But what have been some of the positive results from when you were calling through the Great Retrace? And I'll do a real quick, like just how this works. So Neal Smith's on today. He was connected to me by Roger Savvy. Roger Savvy was connected to me by Nevin Hollett. Nevin Hollett was connected to me by Todd Duncan. And Todd Duncan was connected to me by Bill Hart, right? And just so you know, we are now examining how Bill Hart got my book or who told Bill Hart about me. I don't know who that is. So me and Bill Hart are actually in research to find out who brought Bill Hart into my life. Now think about that, right?
Wow.
So it leads to this other conversation. And Bill was like, what a wonderful and so in character question, right? And you got to realize even the question has power. Even the question of, Neal, who connected us? Who do I need to thank for bringing you into my life? Right? So Chris, who do I need to thank for bringing you into my life?
Gary Keller.
No, well, it might be Gary Keller.
Well, I first learned about you at, I think it was you were talking about your book, right?
Right, but we're talking, this is over here, right? But
this would be Chaz, you and me.
Where did the real connection come in? Like with Neal, Bill Hart introduced 7L to Neal, but there was no magic that happened right there, right? I mean, you can hear about people, but being connected is a whole, I mean, I've heard of Tony Robbins. Yeah. But speaking with the guy and being behind the scenes with the guy is a different planet, right? Like you, right? Yeah. So it's like, so who really brought us together to do business together?
Yeah. The magic between you and me really started with Chaz Wilson.
Boom. Hey. Exactly. Right. So Chaz Wilson, right? And so, you know, and then I have Chaz Wilson was connected to me by Jody Bach, right? Okay. Yeah. And here, you want to hear something really funny? Jody Bach sat in front of me in 2012 Mega Camp at the big Keller Williams Mega Camp. I was speaking, but I was also like at the event taking notes and learning and growing and everything else. I actually sat in right behind her and we were just comparing notes on something. So we actually met at that same Mega Camp that you were at. You know, it's like, what? You know, crazy. So Neal, what's some of the stories that you've seen come out of this where it's just like, you know, either it turns into business or it turns into a weird conversation or that kind of thing?
I have so many. I mean, just this year, this client comes back to me, wants to buy a house up in Lake Tahoe, you know, and I'm jonesing every time I get a referral. I'm like, how did they come to me? I'm like, and I'm fighting. Okay, who do I have to thank you for on this, right? Wow. This is a client.
Wait a second. Wait, I got it. Okay. There's so many people that are listening to this podcast. I want you to go see this on YouTube. I don't know where go to referralspodcast.com. Find the link to the video of this because two things. One, I'm freaking wearing a jacket. Okay. So I never wear a suit jacket, but I'm wearing a suit jacket and I have the greatest PIN on ever. So you got to see my pin. But here's the other thing. Neal started talking about this and he lit up like a Christmas tree. I mean, the passion, you can see it come out of his body. There's like a light, you know how you like, my wife likes to watch these Supernatural and all those shows where it's like the ghost encounters and things like that. Don't judge her. It's okay. I don't know what she likes about it. But here's the thing, right? Is, you know, they have these little sparkles of light and they're like, that's a ghost. And you're like, oh, or a piece of dust, but it's okay. It's a ghost, right? And so here's the thing. Neal started speaking and like these lights started emitting out of his head. So I can't wait for you to see the video as well as listen to this on audio. So Neal, how long have you been doing the Great Retrace, by the way?
Honestly, only a year.
Yeah. So what are some of the stories again? I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was just like you were like 6 inches closer to the screen and 22 inches taller, you know?
Yeah, well, there's so many. And first, for example, I just got somebody referred to me this morning, right? Her name is Casey. Casey was referred by Amy. Amy referred by Mike. Mike referred by Tom, and then Craig. Guess what I'm doing today? It's on my list of calls, right? And I'm excited. Craig, I went to high school and played on the golf team with him at high school. And he's a good, dear friend of mine and a connector. And so I'm going to have a lot of fun today talking and thanking all these people and sending them a power note. It's going to be awesome. And that's the part of it is every time you get a referral, you're like, oh, how do I know him? What do I have to do? Okay. Oh, I'm so excited. Whereas before you're like, oh, I got to call my database, right? Oh boy, I haven't talked to him in 6 months. Oh, what am I going to say? Yeah. Now, obviously there's stuff around that, but this stuff is just so much fun.
I'm taking a note right now. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm taking a note and I use my phone note section for that. So I just want everybody to know. Neal, I hardly ever take notes on these. Not because I'm selfish or anything, but I really want to stay. But you actually reminded me of something that we have got to do within our systems. So I'm going to write that down because that is so freaking good. Okay. So the referred by, and then the referred by, and the referred by. Now, how many of those calls do you have today?
Today I have 4 on this line.
Okay. So how long is that going to take you?
Hopefully a while. I mean, honestly, I want to connect and talk with these people. I mean, call it an hour.
Yeah.
But it could be as quick as, 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
It's so funny. Like, that's so counter
Yeah.
to what most business people are like.
Yeah.
I've got 4 calls. I would really like for it to last -5 minutes. and then they execute at -5 minutes, which means they thought about it a little bit, that they never actually did anything. But they were hoping that maybe it'd be 4 minutes of calls. And here you are hoping that, you know what, I'm hoping that 4 or 5 of these calls equate to an hour. Now, can I ask you questions about that specific Great Retrace?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing that you do that I love that you said, and I want to make sure everybody knows, because we covered this a little bit on Referrals Podcast, and I've already started getting them. I'm already, in fact, I wish I was at my desk. I have a pile of handwritten notes, and they're not just handwritten notes. Neal, Chris, you guys would be so proud. These are power notes. They're written in blue ink. They're slanted the right way. They have a powerful PS. Sharon Hires just sent me one that had a yellow Post-it note with the call to action on it, right? I mean, it's like they're implementing, and they're just like, oh my God, these power notes are great. Bob Goff just sent me his book and sent me the information, and he sent me a really powerful handwritten note about business he had gotten just from writing the handwritten note and having and including the book. And it's just like, so people are doing that. So you're doing a handwritten note after each of the calls.
Yes. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. I thought you were the man, right? I talked to your wife the other day. She was saying, I found the perfect man.
You found the wrong way. That's not my way.
I mean, like Adam was created by God, and he was like first. You would think God got it perfect first, but not even God got it perfect first, right? I mean, it's like that guy screwed up, in a big way. It screwed all of us, really, but that's a whole nother story. But it's like, there is no perfect man, right? A lot of perfect women, which is a conversation for another day. But it's one of those where it's like no perfect man. So you know what? Maybe you write 3 today instead of 4, right?
Yeah, my number one objective, obviously thank these people, but I want to go break bread with them. I want to go do something, have a beer, have a cup of coffee, lunch, whatever. And so I'm using this to go in and talk to these people that are friends of mine. And that's a big thing. I've always done business with friends. And so that's really important. And it's fun. It's really fun. So you're going
into the call with a what's next.
Yep.
You're going into every single call with a call to action for that person, right?
Absolutely.
So 2019 coming on to us very quickly. For our entire 7L, Referco, the Generosity Generation, all 3, it's the year of the Army of Ambassadors tour, right? The Army of Ambassadors, it's a volunteer army of brand ambassadors who are spreading the word about you and referring you willingly, right? And so what Neal is really exemplifying right here is that, these are business calls, but they're more training and building and maintaining his army of ambassadors one at a time, right, Neal? I mean, it's like you're taking one at a time, building a relationship one at a time, and you're planting seeds on fertile ground because these people have a history of introducing, connecting, and referring. Not just have a history of introducing, connecting, referring, but introducing, connecting, referring you. So you're really planting and really, really, really good ground, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you're building your army of ambassadors, and ambassadors are unpaid, volunteer salespeople for you and your business. You can only this is taking the place of marketing, right? Marketing was your voice to the world, your message to the world. But what's happening is this army is taking the place of marketing, right? Your army, people are listening more to the army and through social networks, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Your army has more powerful than all the money being spent on marketing. Imagine marketing being replaced with Army in the future, right? And it's moving, talking, emotional billboards, right, for your business. And you're building them exactly the right way, one at a time. You're also not wasting your time because you're not just talking to people that are in your database who've never referred you or introduced you or connected you. You're actually building it based on the best people, the highest quality people, the people who the best predictor of future success is past success, right? I mean, that's how we hire. That's how we hire on our team. When you hire a salesperson for your business, you're going to say, have you sold anything before? No. Are you going to hire them? The answer is no. Now, if you say, yes, I used to sell 100 units a month at a car dealership, you're like, okay, I think you're going to be able to sell what we sell, right? So I love that. And Neal, would you mind going through your Great Retrace profession by profession? So person by person and what profession they are in? Because everybody needs to know that Neal is a lender, one of the best lenders in California, and he's also one of the top speakers out there in the world, not just to mortgage professionals, but in the real estate industry. So this is a really interesting deep dive into who your connections are.
Let's get ready for referrals. In the red corner, we have the average agent working by advertising, learning on the fly, no systems, no profit, and no clients. And in the blue corner, we have what could be you, the profitable agent working by referral, loving life and loving their clients. Are you ready? Take your business to the next level and go to www.callwithcoach.com and set up your free referral coaching session. Go now, change your business forever. www.callwithcoach.com.
So I don't know the first person, but the first person who referred me, Amy. Okay. Amy is a client. She's a client. She's a connector. She just really neat, genuine person, but small business owner. Really important to think about that. They get the idea of the power of referral, but also a really big giver, and that's her motivation.
What business does she own?
Huh?
What business does she own?
Yeah, she had a catering business. She's in transition right now, but catering was her that.
Okay. So the first thing you had to do is write down your referral, introduction or connection. And then you had to think of who connected me to that person.
Correct.
And then while you're in that mindset of diving deep into your brain is, okay, who connected me to that person, right? And then and so you wrote these down literally on a piece of paper, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And then from there, you look up the phone number, you look up the information, whatever you need at the time, you look it up and take action on it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the first one has a catering business, which how great is that, right? I mean, A, it's easy to refer a catering business, and B, a catering business can refer a lender and a realtor a lot of business, right? So then, okay. And then, so how about the next oh, by the way, Amy is her name, right?
Yeah, Amy.
And I don't have this, but I'll try to remember as much as I can. So Amy, now how would you describe Amy out of the next? I'm going to give you the 4 options, right, of DISC. So how would you describe Amy? Would she be 1, straight to the point, 2, social and outgoing, 3, steady and dependable, or is she 4, cautious and perfectly accurate?
She's an I.
So she's a 2?
Yep.
So she's and probably a 1 kicker?
Absolutely.
Like straight to the point kicker? Okay.
Yeah,
so she's a 21. All right. So 21s and a business owner. All right. So let's go to the next one on your list below Amy.
Next one, Mike. He's a real estate agent.
Okay. So once again, what out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, what would you say Mike is?
I would go. He's a 1-2. Okay.
So he's a 12, right? So, all right. And then, 1, 2, 12, same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to correct you on that. It's just, it's the same thing. So, and then, realtor 12. And then what's the third one down?
Appraiser.
Oh, wow. Okay. So an appraiser, male or female?
Male.
Male. And how about on the 1, 2, 3, 4 scale?
Mostly 2. I would say mostly 2.
Which is really funny. A social appraiser, right? I mean, it's like the most antisocial job ever. And of course he's really social because he never gets to talk to anybody during his job, right? It's like, that's why when he sees you, he's like, it's like, I got to get my words out.
Well, and he has an accounting degree, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, that is. Well, I have a math degree too. I mean, I think what happens is you do really well in school because you have a really cool teacher in that category course. And then they go, well, you did really well in math and science. You're a nerd. I mean, you're an engineer, right? Or you're a mathematician. So it's one of those where it's like, it's who knows, right? The degrees sometimes are so counter to what they end up in life. You know what I mean? Chris, do you have a degree? You knew I was going there, right? You're an art history major.
Close. I have a bachelor's in recreation.
No, you don't.
I do, yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
PED? Is that what it is?
It's other schools call it leisure studies, but I'm no joke.
Dude. How was that not there when I was? I would have mastered in leisure activities and recreation. I would have invented the stupid degree if I would have known when I was in. I actually did that and didn't get any credit.
I know. Well,
crazy. That is awesome. I mean, when whoever thought of that for their college, is brilliant. I have a position on my football team. It's 12th man. You don't have to do anything. You just sit on the side. You just stand over here, and the other 11 fight the battle. It's all good, right? It's like, I want to be 12th man. Okay, sit down.
I know.
So here's the thing. Neal, what's your degree in?
Finance, real estate.
Well, there you go. Right, and then there's the perfectly matched person, right? Perfect man.
Lucky.
Neal Smith, perfect man. So Neal, the appraiser, is he a solopreneur?
Yeah.
Wow. So we have 3 solopreneurs, right?
Yep.
So we have 3 entrepreneurs. We have a 21, a 12, and maybe a
23 probably.
23, right? And probably a 234, right? Because he's got to have some of that cautious, perfectly accurate accounting probably.
Yep.
So it's one of those where it's like, okay, the trend is obvious. Is it not? We need to network with social people. Social people are more likely to socially refer us. That just makes sense. It just makes sense. Now, we don't need to ignore the steady and dependable or the cautious and perfectly accurate or the straight to the point. But you know what? One of the components of a referral source in many cases is that they have some type of 2 component, right? They have some type of social and outgoing, some type of I component. Mm-hmm. The other part that you're talking about, and this is just one microcosm example, but we're getting such great stuff from it, is that you have a catering company owner, you have a realtor, which is the company owner, you have an appraiser who is the company owner, right? So we need to be networking with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people who are in business for themselves and really understand the power of networking, right? And you don't know the client breakdown yet?
No,
right?
I haven't talked to her yet.
Okay, all right. So let's see. So here's another thing about being great, that you're a lender, right? Why is the lender quicker? Why is the lender have more success quicker with 7L? It's because a lot of your calls will be realtors, right? So realtors are the best direct source of leads and referrals for a lender. What's interesting about this is that you'll notice that as you keep doing the Great Retrace, 2 out of every 4 are going to be realtors that connected you to either a realtor or a client. So you're calling your target market. And that's what's beautiful about this building your army of ambassadors is sometimes it's hard to identify who is my target market for my affections, for my time, my energy, my effort, my money. And the Great Retrace actually allows you to align your resources with those that are most likely to ROI, return on the income, right? Or return on the effort, or return on the energy, whatever you may be.
Yep.
Neal, what else are you finding as you're going through this?
You know, I just enjoy it. The Retrace to me, and I just, like I said earlier, I felt like such an idiot by not figuring this out. And it's just so profound, and I really enjoy it. And to be candid with you, it's when I get a referral, I'm hoping for a retrace. I really am. I'm really hoping for a retrace, and it's getting me back into my database. It's also creating more awarenesses of who are the peeps, right? The peeps that have been, like all of a sudden Brian has hit my radar a lot as I was looking into this call, going, who are the people? Well, God Almighty, it all comes to Brian, and it's like, wow, I need to spend more time with Brian and love on him. And he's a good, dear friend of mine,
I love it.
I want to ask too, Neal, just from the, I'm sitting over here with my detail hat on, which I'm not a detail guy. I'm a recreation major, but how do I track this? How are you tracking this? You just have a bunch of napkins and sticky notes lying around, or do you actually have a spreadsheet or something that this all fits in?
There's multiple ways to do it. You can put it on a spreadsheet. That's what Michael has. He has it on an Excel spreadsheet, and you can kind of go through there. I actually have it in the database that I'm using. It has who it's referred by. And to be candid with it, it's not that tough. These are clients. I mean, Michael, you could probably retrace 12 deep and 13 deep on people pretty easy on by memory,
I don't know about memory. I mean, we have 22 deep.
Yeah,
that's 22. Great Retrace is 22 people deep.
Wow.
So yeah. A lot of them I do. What's funny is you can do them by memory too. Once you start, I mean, it's like you're clicking a piece of your brain when you start doing the Great Retrace. And what's amazing is I do this in front of audiences where I'll say, all right, let's do your Great Retrace. And they're like, oh, I'll never remember. And then I'll ask them and they go, oh yeah, that was, college at a party, and then I was like, oh, that was high school homeroom, it was just like,
wow.
We do remember. And there's a piece of our brain that forces us to remember who connects us to something that benefits us. I believe, I'm a research guy, so I hate to even throw this, but I believe that this goes way back to the beginning of man when you're traveling, you're nomads or whatever it may be, and somebody tells you where the water hole is, right? And it's like, hey, you know what? The water hole is across that mountain. I mean, you in a crowd of people, you want to be able to pick that guy out so that he can tell you where the water hole is, right? Or that gal or whatever it may be. But it's one of those where, when it benefits us, then there is this remembrance or memory of the connections, introductions, and so on and so forth.
Good point. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're using, what are you using? You can say it. It's all good.
It's a new one came to me about 7 months ago called Media Center. And I like it. And I tried multiple different ones. I kept going back to ACT. And so far I've been pretty impressed.
Media Center.
Good. Well, if it even has just this in it, it's probably helpful, right?
Yeah, well, that's the neat thing about it is they're developing and developing and developing, and as you know, I come up with different ideas to make things a little better.
Of course you do. That's because you're brilliant.
You're the perfect man. You're the perfect.
I'm I'm a refiner.
If you have a problem, give it to a finance man.
Yeah,
that's what they told me. I don't know what that means, but
personality profile I did a while ago. Through actually Brian Buffini said I was a refiner, as a heavy refiner by trade. So I apologize in advance.
Have you ever done StrengthsFinder?
I have. I've done StrengthsFinder too.
Yeah, that would be an interesting type of conversation too.
Yeah.
What? So here's a thought, right? And I hate to even do this because this is the first time we've even introduced the Great Retrace concept. But let's go a little deeper on this, if you're open to it. Right?
Absolutely.
So, what was the client's name that Amy referred you?
Casey.
C-A-S-E-Y?
K-A-C-E-E.
Of course. So Casey. And okay, so do you have another one close by and handy other than Casey's strand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's take Casey's Great Retrace first. So Amy referred Casey. So Amy was connected to you by Mike, yes?
Yes.
Mike, the realtor, of course. Yeah. And so Amy, where did you actually physically meet Amy?
At my office.
At your office was the first time you ever met her?
Correct.
Okay. And what were you doing at the time? Were you working?
Yeah, we'd set up an appointment for,
Yeah, she's a
home buyer appointment client. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go to Mike, right?
Yeah.
So when did you first meet Mike? At where?
So there's a story behind Mike. Mike and I went to high school together. He's 1 year behind me, and we lost connection. And I had heard.
Hold on. Okay, let's stick with high school.
Yeah.
Where did you first meet Mike? Think about it.
I don't know.
You do. I know you do.
I don't. I can't say. I mean, somewhere at the quad, or I don't know.
You could say. You could say. It's okay. It's okay. So Mike, right? So he was a year. So did you meet him as a senior? You sure didn't meet him as a freshman.
Right? Well, yeah, of course. I met him as a sophomore or a junior, probably.
Okay, so you're probably sophomore, junior. He was a freshman or a sophomore, right? So where would have freshmen, sophomores, and junior, and would it have been in sports? Would it have been in a class? Probably not a class, right? Because your junior classes are different than your sophomore classes, right?
Sometimes class out in the parking lot, eating lunch, hanging on the quad, what have you. So.
Okay. Where do you think it's most likely that you met him?
Probably having lunch somewhere on the quad.
Okay. So just ran into each other, started chatting.
Yeah, mutual friend introductions and seeing each other and mutual interest and stuff like that.
So what mutual friend would have connected the two of you?
Gosh, there's a lot of us. So in high school, I was what you call a mod boy.
Yeah. Okay.
And drove a Lambretta and had the scooter and watched The Who. And, loved The Who and Quadrophenia and all of that stuff. So
nice.
Us, quote unquote, mod boys, even though we're still for sports and everything, we kind of had that connection.
Yeah. Was Mike a mod boy?
Yeah, he was a mod boy.
Okay. So who are the other mod boys? You can just use first names to protect the innocent.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Nick, Mike, Tim, Sean. I mean, there's tons. Greg, there's tons of us.
Write all those down.
Oh, geez.
You're doing a mod boy reunion soon. That's what I heard.
Okay, got it.
And you get to listen to The Who. Right?
Absolutely.
So I like that. So you met him in high school. You met him in a mod boy group, if you will, right? The early edition of the bad boy / what are the boy groups called? Boy bands?
Boy bands.
So early boy band, right? All right. So then you've got Mike. So you were in school and you were at lunch or doing what you do in school, right?
Yep.
Then let's trace it back one person before that. Who connected you?
Tom.
Appraiser. Tom the appraiser. All right. Mm-hmm. And so where did you first meet Tom?
So funny enough, Tom was in Mike's class at the same high school, and I didn't know Tom until he actually was introduced by Craig, who I played golf with at that high school, who's a financial advisor. Yeah. And Craig said, could you please give my brother-in-law a break and when we refinance Craig's house, can you let him appraise my house? And I'm like, Craig, I don't just use anybody. I don't care if he went to high school with, I'm not going to use some knucklehead I don't know.
That's right.
And he's like, no, just can you please do it? Just do me a favor. So that's how we met.
So Craig was not on your list.
No, Craig's on my list. Craig's on the list. You can go there.
All right. So what's Craig? Craig's a financial planner?
Financial planner is the 34.
No way. He's a SC?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, right? That's who you want as a financial planner. Not somebody who can sell you on something, but somebody who's steady and into details and research, right? Yeah. I love that. I bet he does well but he does it only by referral.
He crushes it. Does really, really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he probably really has good partners like you that are ID or 21s or 12s, right? So he's got an army of ambassadors, right, that are 12s and 21s because he's a 34. That's interesting. So Craig introduced you to Tom.
Yeah.
And so where did you first meet Tom? Did you ever meet Tom?
Yeah, I met him. Well, it's a funny story. I can't quite say what happened, but there was a trick played on the appraisal where it's a long story, but it was pretty darn funny. It was an inappropriate picture. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, no.
Of the rear view of the house. And I thought it was hilarious. And I thought, man, and what they had done is they had sent it to Tom's mentor because Craig had interned at this appraisal company. They sent it to the mentor. He didn't catch, because Tom does such great jobs. He didn't catch that the rear view was a little different of the house. And I thought if this guy does this is awesome. This is awesome. I love that guy. So
real estate humor never seems to land like you want it to. Have you ever found that out? It's like it was a funny trick appraisal, and like all your friends are just like,
oh man,
no.
What? So that's interesting. So I think it was one of those where you actually met where? Like you didn't meet at the house, right?
No, after the appraisal, the funny appraisal, and got it all corrected and all of that kind of stuff. I started sending him some business, and he stopped by my office because all of a sudden I got on his radar pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so that's where we met, probably at my office, and we played a ton of golf together. He's a good friend, neat guy, and I just I trust him.
Good dude. So golf is a central theme. So one of the things that I just did is not only do we have people hubs in our life, these ambassadors, what I call ambassador hubs, and ambassador hubs are people hubs. They're well-connected hubs in our life. Well, we also have place hubs, right? People, place, and things. So place hubs are places that tend to get us a lot of business, right? So like in your case, it's your office, right? In many cases, you first met people at your office, which sounds like a small thing, but it's a meaningful thing. I just did this with a gal out of Tennessee. We did her great retrace people. We did her great retrace, like, where did you meet them? And then we did great retrace, what were you doing when you met them? And what happened is many of hers were office visit, office presentation, RE/MAX office, Keller Williams office, Realty Executive's office. And it was just like office visit, and I go, when's the last time you did an office presentation? Oh, it's been like 5 years ago. Well, no wonder your business is down. And then it was like church committee. And I go, how often do you go to church? Well, every Sunday, which is great. Good job. And then it was like, yeah, but how involved are you with your church now? And she goes, I go to church on Sunday. I go, let's get more involved. Let's get on a committee. Let's volunteer. Let's get, because that is a place hub for your business. And I know it's like, but I don't want, at church. And it's like, no, it turns out to be business because there's people you can help at the church, but they've lost contact. You've lost contact with them. And then the third is your interest hub, right? Your interest hub, which is things you like to do hub, right? Neal, for you, one of your interest hubs is golf, right? So golf clubs, golf leagues, right? And even regular golf games might be once a month with some of these people are just, and even if they, even if you're scratch and they're plus 18, right? It would be worth it for you to hack through or him to hack or her to hack through an 18 holes or 9 holes even to keep the relationship going, right? They said, I read something the other day. There's more deals done on the golf course than in the boardroom.
Yeah.
Right. So there's people hubs, there's place hubs, and there's interest hubs. And those are hubs, not just for your life, but they're hubs for your business, you know? And that I would have never discovered any of those things without the Great Retrace.
I think what's cool too about this conversation, clearly there's a lot of depth to this conversation, even though it's like one or two sentences in, between chapter 10 and 11 or whatever you said. But
yeah, two sentences in chapter 10.
Yeah. But I think what's cool is, Neal, like you're actually certified. You're a CRT, certified referral trainer. And this is one of the things you actually teach on, right?
Correct.
Like you guys listening to this could actually reach out to Neal and have him go deeper into this strategy with you guys and have just do a workshop around it, I would imagine.
Absolutely. And this is the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole nother piece of, if you have a listing and you can get your whole family tree involved in selling that person's house. I mean, there's so many different ways to
social media, pulling in social media.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff.
I love it. Well, let's do this, gang. Let's wrap up. Neal, give us if somebody is hearing this and like, this is really good. What's a great place for them to start to just get into the Great Retrace?
I think the first thing to do is look at your last closings in the last 12 months and just go back, right now it's October, just go into September or even October closings and just go back and then make a list in Excel or what have you, or even on a notepad and start writing down what these people are, who you're contacted, through, and then start retracing them. And you're going to get some momentum. And I don't care if it's 6 months ago, it doesn't matter. Go retrace them. And even a year, all you're doing is saying thank you. You're not asking for a handout, right? And so it's not a bad reason to call at all. Not a bad reason to call.
Might be the best reason, right? Yeah. Might be the best reason to call.
Absolutely.
I know, Michael, you and I, we always, there's always a download that people can get listening to the Referrals Podcast. If you guys want the spreadsheet, the Great Retrace spreadsheet, you guys can go to referralspodcast.com and actually download a spreadsheet to help you do what Neal just said, which is to just go back and start retracing. Use a little spreadsheet if it helps you organize your thoughts that way.
And Chris, I have to let people know, you're probably going to be underwhelmed by the Great Retrace spreadsheet, right? It's just going to say, referral. It's going to say ref source 1, ref source 2, ref source 3, and that's all it's going to say. Yeah. Right. So the Great Retrace spreadsheet in and of itself is super basic. It's putting the data in and making the calls and having the what's next, like a handwritten note, and having the what's next, like a one-on-one lunch or coffee at a networking stack at the Home Court Advantage, right? And to invite them to an event, right? Which makes this the most powerful. So you're going to see it, you're going to open up. I don't want people to be disappointed because it's just a spreadsheet. But the thing is the power is in you, right? The power is in your information being in the spreadsheet and you communicating with the people in that spreadsheet like Neal is. So just want to make sure the download, people ask us all the time for that download and they always say thanks. And I wonder if they even opened it before they said thanks, because it literally is a header row. It's a header row, So it's like, hey, it's a good way to get started.
Yeah, it's a good way to get started. Awesome. Well, this is a great episode, gang. Thanks, Neal. Thanks for being on the show today. It's great to hear more of your story and what you're up to. Michael, again, it's always a great episode. And we will catch you guys in the next episode.
You rock. Thanks, Guardian Angel. Neal Smith, thank you, brother. You rock, as always. I appreciate you. And people need to contact you. How do they do that to get you to do the Great Retrace?
Just email me, Neal, Neal, at team, TEAMNKS.com.
Which are your initials, right?
Neal my initials.
K. Smith.
Neal Kimball Smith.
TeamNKS.com.
Correct.
Yes?
Yep, correct.
Nice.
Okay, so Neal at TeamNKS.com. Contact him, reach out to him. I know the Sacramento Board of Realtors needs to get on board, and they're getting on board to hire you. Come over. I think the bottom line is, this is a really powerful concept. He also teaches time management, which is a really powerful concept. So I'd look into Neal. I'd look into making it happen. Neal, you brought it today, brother. I appreciate you and appreciate your passion. And until next time.
Thank you both. I appreciate you both.
Yeah.
Bye.